Welcome to the Aro Benaiah Show, where we share stories of hands-on entrepreneurs and builders who are shaping industry in unique way. Today, I'm excited to have with me Dan Hefner, a software developer, creator, no-code expert, and the host of Tech Byte. What makes Dan's stories remarkable is that he started building app without a single line of code and turned them into a thriving business, helping entrepreneurs bring their ideas to life. We'll be diving into the journey, lesson he has learned along the way, and how young people, including trade people, can tap into the opportunity in tech and business. So once again, good to have you here, Dan.
Yes, great to be here. Thank you so much.
Dan, what was it like growing up?
Well, I never thought I'd be into entrepreneurship in software. I can tell you that. I was a sports focused guy. I played, football, baseball, basketball. I was always outside, always doing things. I was never on a computer, never learned code, never learned any of that stuff. So getting into things like I have now has kind of been a shock for me also because I never thought I'd go down this route ever. I remember telling myself one time, I am never going to have a job where I look in front of a computer all day.
Wow.
And I was like,
Both statements.
yeah, yeah, pretty naive back then. So, but no, it was good. It was, very, very, very good upbringing, very, loving family. I actually grew up on the same road, as like all my aunts and uncles and cousins, and I was the oldest of
Wow.
all of them. So there was just everyone to play with all the time. So it was really
Yeah.
fun.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. So I think from what you said, I'm not wondering how will I get to ask this particular question. So how did your early experience shape you for what you are currently doing today? I know you said actually more like you made a bold statement earlier on that at any time I'm not going to kind of just face computer without going all out and everything. So I'm trying to kind of still find out now. Is there any more like early experience that actually shape you towards what you actually do today?
Well, I wouldn't say early experiences, but definitely a little bit later in life, kind of how I got into what I did. Or
Yeah.
what I do is, my wife is in the medical field, so it was like medical school, and then residency, and then fellowship, and so we've kind of moved all over the place,
Oh,
and it got pretty difficult to kind of hold down a job for me, right? Because we
yeah.
were just moving all the time. So that was an experience that kind of got me to think, okay, I need to be able to do something and make money from wherever we are in the world, because we're constantly moving and doing different things. She loves to travel too. I'm not a big travel guy, but my wife is just loving to travel. So I'm like, okay. But that kind of shaped what I was, kind of what I got into because I realized like, hey, I need to still figure out a way to make money and to be able to
Yeah.
to contribute and provide and do things like that. So that kind of got me into this entire route of things. But I think what else I did have an uncle growing up and one of my cousins, and they both had very successful businesses. So I did get to kind of see kind of how they did things, but
Yeah.
they were more in like construction, and one was like a safety equipment business. So they didn't really do anything online. So I never knew of anyone who had succeeded, online in business and things like that. But I did see that my uncle and my cousin who had businesses had a lot more money than people in my family that just had regular jobs and things like that.
Yeah.
So that definitely kind of helped shape my thinking. And I actually worked for that one cousin for a while and kind of learned the ropes of his business and how it all works. And so I got a little bit of taste of that.
Wow. That was amazing. That was amazing. Yeah, I think it's the fact that you make reference of it was the need of you getting more like a stable job. There is not location dependent that actually spoil you to start looking out for route to actually make money without being dependent on job here, going to new site, job there, which is very quite tiring and demanding. Yeah. So Dan, before you become tech entrepreneur, what kind of job did you do? How did those role, whether small or big, influence your decision making and approach to business today?
Yeah, that's a good question. My very first job, I was a background investigator, which was a really cool job because to work for the US government or contractors, you have to have a security clearance.
Yeah.
And in order to get that clearance, you have to have people that were like me that would go around and verify like, your character and your friends and where you lived and where you worked and all that stuff. So I got to live in Washington D.C. And that was my very first job, which was pretty much a
Yeah.
remote job. I got to work like by myself a lot, but I had to go into the office every once in a while. So I kind of learned that remote work kind of approach very first, like being self-dependent, self-efficient, managing my time, my schedule, all that kind of stuff, which really helped me. That was a really cool job. I got to go into the
Yeah.
Pentagon. I got to go to the State Department. Like that was a really, really cool
Yeah.
job. Um, and then from there, when I moved first to meet my wife, I took a customer service job. So I was like a help support. This was my first venture into tech. I had no idea. I
Yeah.
almost got fired from the job because I knew like nothing. Um, and so I did a customer service job, kind of learned the ropes of technology and kind of how like the basic stuff works. Then from there, I got into a software testing job. So we would build apps for like the military and the army and stuff like that. And I was the guy that got to go in and like try to break it and test it and make sure it worked and it did what it was supposed to do. So that was kind of my first venture into software, which was a pretty cool job. And then I worked as a cold caller salesperson for a while. So I was just like trying to sell, trying to do that kind of stuff, which is a very good entrepreneurial, skill. And then I actually worked for an advertising agency where we did ads for like lawyers and things like that. And that was the last job I've had since I've been on my own ever since then. So I was able to kind of pull from all of these different,
Yeah.
things to be able to I see how they all fit together now.
Wow. That was amazing. I think considering what you do now, one could actually more like get to trace the fact that you were actually more like doing these couples of jobs, because none of them actually speak volume to what you currently do now. It's quite really amazing. So you started with zero coding background, yet build a full app development business. What gave you the courage to begin? What were your biggest mind shift when you actually make that decision?
Good question. You're very good questions. I think the biggest thing with me was so yeah. When I was trying to like I had this idea for this app, right? My wife and I were engaged at the time, and I had kind of gone down this entrepreneurial route, and I was in the tech space a little bit, and I was like, I wonder if I could build an app that would actually work. And this was like 2017, 2018. But that was the problem I faced, right? Was I didn't know how to code. That was the first major hurdle.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I can code it, but I don't know how to code. So I tried taking a couple of classes. That wasn't my cup of tea. I couldn't catch on to it very well.
Yeah.
Plus I was working full time, so that really didn't work out. And then I was like, okay, well, what if I just pay someone? So then I got quotes, and I would go to Upwork, and I would go to different places, and people were quoting me just tons and tons and tons of money. And I was like, okay, well, that's not going to work either. And then, one thing leads to another. I Google a couple of things, find out that there's a thing called no code where you can build it faster and cheaper. And I was like,
Yeah.
sounds good to me. And that was my mindset shift. That was like, okay,
Yeah.
it might not be the exact thing that I'm looking for it to be, but I can make it good enough, and I can put it out there, and I can launch it, and I can actually make money at this, and I can build this business and this idea. So that's what I was able to do. And then how I turned it into a business was kind of a different stage, because I had basically gone from platform to platform to platform. I would go and I would try this platform, and I'd build, and I would be like, I can't really, this isn't what I want. So I'd go to this one, and then I'd build
Wow.
it, and then I'd be like, I don't know about that one. I finally built it after like 10 or 20 tries. And then it kind of hit me one day. I was like, hey, you know what? Like, through that process, I actually built a skill for myself that I could freelance and that I could
Yeah.
monetize on. That I know how to build apps in these no code tools a lot faster than a lot of other people that I knew that were doing. And they're like, hey, could you build this for me? I said, there we go. I can make money
Wow.
and do this thing, and started off doing that as a freelancer. So that was kind of my mindset shift was, oh, I built this skill by doing all of this stuff for myself for free for a long time, and then being like, I could actually monetize that. So that was kind of how it all happened.
Wow. Wow. That was amazing. Is the fact that you started out volunteering, and later on you were able to kind of already think about your levels of skills you have actually gathered during this period of uh, checking out, trying to see possibility of what will work, and then you were able to kind of market it. And yeah, it's really amazing, actually.
Thank you.
Okay, along the way, what challenge test your resilience the most, and how did you push through them?
Oh man, I could talk all day about this one. I don't know if I can pick just one. There's always different challenges. I think. Well, I think, the biggest piece for me, I think, was realizing that. So this was the next piece, right? Was like, oh, I built this skill. I can now go build these things for people that want to pay me money. The problem was I was too fixated on that skill. I was too fixated on this is so cool, like the technology of like, oh, this is so cool. I'm learning new things. I'm getting better. I'm honing my craft. But then that doesn't really do any good if you don't have people to pay you to do it.
Yeah.
So I think that was a hard lesson I had to learn was like, oh, I'm actually more in the business of finding and selling people into this than I am of actually doing that. So that was a pretty hard because yeah, I got to a point where I was like, I ran out of money. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is not this is not a sustainable thing. Like I can provide a good thing, but if I never go market it or sell it, like
Yeah.
what's the point? So it's just a basic fundamental of business lesson, but I learned it the hard way because I didn't really have, even though like I said, I had kind of seen family members that had done it and succeeded in it. It wasn't like I really had someone as I was doing this kind of alongside of me telling me like, hey, make sure you focus on this, make sure you focus on that, kind of guiding me along. I was just kind of on my own winging it.
Wow.
So yeah, I think that was probably my biggest realization was like you're not always in the business of what you do. You're in the business of selling what you do, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I think just the way you just gave the analyze how you actually came about, so into the fact that at one point you were trying to kind of question the various ideas, so into see the fact that, yeah, if I actually learn this skill, how am I going to sell it? So most times, especially for young persons who doesn't have experience, or who actually more like have more like this thing, who has more like passion and still they are wondering, but I'm passionate about it. But let's realistic, those passion pays. There's some
Yeah.
passion I wouldn't get to pay, being that there's no ready market to it. And that actually brings me back to one particular interview that Vusi Timbakwayo has, and it was making reference of, yeah, the guy was saying he was passionate, and he was saying that he didn't see job in line of his passion. And the interview goes this way: that what did you eat this morning? Say eat so food. What did you eat in the afternoon? And later he arrived at the fact that you see, all through the morning, afternoon, and evening, you didn't eat passion. You ate food.
Yeah.
It should be the fact that you see a problem, you solve it, and if that is not your passion, you just get money and later use the money and fund your passion, which actually speaks volumes. Yeah, thank you. So, especially from your experience, what is a common mistake you see young people, especially those entering trade or starting a business, make when trying to build something new?
This is a very good and timely question because I actually just met with a young man I've been mentoring recently this morning. And it's very fresh in my mind because he was experiencing this exact thing.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do? How do I make this work? So, for him at least, and I think for some other people that I've seen, one of the biggest mistakes um, is trying to think that you have to build the perfect thing before you actually launch it.
Mm,
And not even just software. I'm talking about just like a business in general, right? I think I've seen it more times than not, and this applies especially in software. Is like,
yeah.
well, I know that there's this tool out there, like we're trying to build a new TikTok or something, right? Well, we have to be able to provide a superior product to TikTok in order for people to be able to use it. Well, newsflash, you're not going to create a superior product to TikTok. You know why? Because they have billions and billions and billions of dollars, and you don't, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest piece is that I've seen recently, and not even just the younger people, but even some of my older clients. I
Yeah.
think is that they're too fixated on providing the perfect product or the perfect thing before you even put it out there or launch or try to sell anything, right? And I think that
Yeah.
I really like the MVP approach, the minimum viable product, right?
Yeah.
What's the bare minimum of something that we can put out there into the world that people will find valuable, even if it's future paced. If you can present like, hey, this is where this thing is going, even if it's not a reality yet, even if on the
Yeah.
back end you know that like this is just an idea. You can present it in a way. And I think for a lot of young people too, when I started out, this felt very unethical. This felt very like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I'm lying. I'm lying to these people. But
Yeah.
I would say to your audience, I would say to the people listening, it's not. It's not. There's a fine line between frauding people of like, hey, I can do this and I can do that, and selling them and never giving them anything. You don't want to do that,
Yeah.
obviously, but there is a way to pre-validate something, to get interest in something before you go and you build the thing, but also using that feedback that people give you to create
Yeah.
the actual thing instead of just build. Because too many times what happens, right, you build the thing and then you go and present it to people and they're like, I
Yeah.
don't need this. Why,
Yeah.
why, why do I need this? Because you didn't validate the need first,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I think that's probably the biggest one.
Yeah. I think the fact that you just answered the question in a certain way, it just reminds me of uh me just looking back, and I actually more like struggle with selling because I do painting and I run industrial cleaning, and I remember the first time after doing some couples of jobs, I didn't post. I didn't share to anybody. In fact, most persons around me, they didn't even get to know what I do. I'm like, in my mind, I was like, if I'm good with what I do I have to say to people? They should come around and get to know. It was until I read Seth Godin's book and I was trying to make reference of selling sometimes should be viewed from the perspective of you seeing that if you are not, if people won't get to find you if you are not searchable, if you are not more like available, you don't have a presence online, you don't have any more like any footprint that they could actually more like get to see. And sometimes we should view it from the perspective of seeing the fact that we are actually more like hurting a whole lot of persons, being that we have this good stuff that could actually benefit them greatly. But they didn't get to kind of see that with the offer, it being that we didn't have any footprint out there. So that was the meta model that actually helped me to say, wow, let me just come out, let it first exist, then I can make it better. That was the model that later helped me to actually more like come out from every more like the comfort zone and not actually reaching out. And you getting to make reference of it again, it's really, really profound because I think this stuff is not even a quotient of age, it's a quotient of when you actually start reaching out. Because some persons, if they're not starting reaching out till when they are old, they will still have this meta, they will still have this more like reluctance trying to struggle with it. Because sometimes confidence is not even built in isolation, it's built while doing it. Yeah,
100%.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, many young people want to learn and grow, but struggle to get opportunity. Yeah, from your perspective, how can they secure internship, mentorship, and collaboration with experienced professional?
Reach out, have some moxie, it never hurts to ask. Like the
Yeah.
gentleman I met with this morning, he had actually attended a class that I had taught probably several months ago, and just was able. I don't know if he had found me through LinkedIn or how he had managed to find my contact information. I didn't give it out. Somehow he had found it, and he sent me an email and he said, hey, I really liked what you did and I liked what you talked about. I'm building this thing. I'd be very interested in your mentorship and guidance on this. In the way that it was framed, it was definitely flattering, right? It was definitely like, okay, yeah, that's really interesting. And it played on my heartstrings a little bit to be like, all right, yeah, I'll help you out. So, yeah, I think that's and I think when you reach out to people, don't focus on yourself. I don't think anybody wants to hear like imagine if I emailed you and I was like, hey, I am the coolest. I have the best idea ever. I'm so smart. It's gonna be so great. You're a fool to miss out. Like I'm gonna be like, okay, like that's silly, right? But if you're
Actually,
like, hey, I listened to your podcast, I saw your profile, I saw this thing, I attended this. This was really interesting. Hey, I actually have. Would I could I pick your brain on something really fast about just an idea I have, or like, could I trouble you for some feedback on this thing? I think people are way more receptive to that kind of thing. If you're obviously if you're able to find their contact information or something, um, that I think that goes a long way. Like do your research. Don't just spray and pray, like I call it. Like you just reach out to 900 people all at once with a generic spammy message. Like take the time to
yeah.
be interested in what they do and learn about them.
Yeah, I think you actually speak volume. Going through their product, going through everything they have aligned to show that you actually take your time to do your homework towards getting. Because sometimes what is more interesting when someone reach out to you is reiterating what you have said before, saying it in their own, saying it more like what, going to the fact that it shows that they have spent their time to consume what you have given out there, and they actually want to ask for a different opinion after more like consuming most of your content.
Yeah, I mean, I think about how we had met on a platform called Podmatch to be on
Yeah.
podcasts, and I get pitched all the time. And you had sent me a message that was very tailored to like, hey, I think what you do is cool, and it would be useful for this show, and I'd love, and I was like, that's a no brainer. Like somebody, but I get so many people that want to be that pitch me to be on my show, and it's just 900 words around like how great they are, and I'm
Ooh.
just like, I'm never gonna read that, and I would rather you do a little more research and tell me why you think you'd be a good fit,
Yeah.
right? That's what I
Yeah.
would
Actually.
say. So
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dan. So, have you actually more like work with trade persons owing to these various buildings or no code building you have actually built? And if yes, more like what are the no code approach can they apply to their business that can help them greatly? That is if you have actually more like work for any trade persons before. I'm just trying to find out what are some of the no code approach can they use towards more like getting more sales or getting more deals.
to get more sales and more deals, you're saying?
Yeah.
Uh, there's a lot. There's a lot of tools out there. And that's kind of the cool thing with the whole like AI revolution that we're kind of in is there's
Yeah.
a new tool like every 5 minutes for something, and they're all super specific, right? There's one, gosh, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's all of your outreach, all of your email outreach, LinkedIn outreach, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, all in one place, automated like that. I came across one recently. Again, I cannot remember the names. A lot of people have very like unmemorable names. They're like not full
Yeah.
words or like everything. But there was one. It was it will respond and have conversations and sell to everyone in your comments. Like it will
Oh.
actually remove negative comments on social posts, and it
Whoa.
will. Yeah, it was really cool. Um, that there's all kinds of those things like that, and I think a lot of what we focus on is actually like the internal stuff, not really like the outreach
Yeah,
stuff.
the
So
understand.
I'm not super versed in a lot of them, but I think like a lot of the tools are that we work with are kind of like operations based, like a
Yeah.
Zapier or Make or things like that. Just to kind of give you context of that. But there's a whole lot. There's a
Yeah.
whole lot.
Yeah. I think the fact that you just give me the possibility of this a whole lot, it's already an opportunity for us to just go search out, especially based on the tailored trade we are actually into. Because sometimes a whole lot of them they are not aware of this possibility. So just getting to hear from you, it's really a great encouragement that they should actually more like check out something tailored to their particular lines of business, which is going to speak volume towards maximizing what they do. So, but in your view, owing to the course of work you have been doing, no code, do you think AI is going to kind of take up, take out jobs involving trade persons or skills labor here and there? I'm just a bit curious.
Yeah, It's $1 million, or well, probably more than $1 million, probably $1 billion question, right? Yeah, I've talked about this a lot on my show. I've had a couple people on, and we've talked about this. I think it will take away some jobs, but add jobs. I think that there's going to be jobs added that people don't even think of that it will exist right now. There'll be. It's kind of like that. Like there'll be jobs that exist 5 years from now that we can't even possibly imagine right now. But I do think, and I say this on my show, I say this to my people as well, is that the people who master AI will never be out of work. They will never be hurting for that. Like again, as another example, this morning when I was meeting with my mentee, he was kind of asking, okay, what should I do here? What should I do there? And I could tell that he did not have the structure, like the plan. He was kind of trying to get the plan out of me, whereas I could probably execute the plan and the app that he's trying to build probably by the end of day today, because I've been through it so many times that I know I can go into ChatGPT and I can say, hey, I'm building this type of thing for this type of person. Build me my project plan. Boom, off it goes. It builds that thing. Okay, great. Now I want to build it over here in this platform. Give me the prompt in order to do this and the database and how this will all work and the features. And then boom. And then there you go. Like, so see how much more valuable the execution I have is because I can just boom. I know I go into this step and I go into this step, but I'm leveraging AI to move so much faster and so much more powerfully than someone who's like, I don't know kind of what way to go. Like ask, just try some things, So yeah, I think it'll, if you learn to execute like that, I don't think you'll ever be hurting for a job.
Wow, amazing, amazing. This a bit encouraging and a bit more like a bit more like saying that we should actually more like pay attention to what is actually happening on various platforms, so that they could actually position themselves. But if you actually more like encourage more like let's say a team of trade persons who work with their hands, with who doesn't have more like a techie background or not much, how do you think they could actually position themselves to, even if AI actually more like take up their job, but they will still more like stand to be more like, how will I see them now? Let's say still be more like significant figure when it comes to their particular trade in terms of being an authority in there, and owing to the fact that they know a whole lot of tools to actually manage. Yeah, if you were to actually encourage them, that even if you take it away, but still they will still be in the scheme of things, being that they are significant person of influence in that particular field.
It's a very good question. I'm sorry if you can hear my dogs barking in the background as well.
No problem.
But yeah, no, I've worked with several people that are exactly who you're talking about. People who work with their hands. They're not, in front of a computer all day. They work in the trades, all that kind of stuff. Those people still encounter problems in business, just like people like you and me who are doing podcasts and building software and doing whatever. But like, so one example, we have a client. He repairs like big giant pieces of equipment, right? Like think about big dump trucks, bulldozers, excavators, like the big construction equipment.
Yeah.
And his problem was that he always was trying to figure out, how do I manage my admin stuff. His wife kind of does it. But like I need to be able to do it on the go in construction sites and be able to add work orders and do these types of things and all this type of stuff. And QuickBooks was not really getting it done for him, right? So what we did was we kind of built something custom that he can use, and we mastered it for his business. And now the next step that he's getting ready to do is go sell that to other people in his industry as another source of income, right? So he figured out how to solve this for himself with the help of us, obviously. But then now he's like, oh, I know a bunch of other people who have actually been asking me, because he spoke about that. And he's been like, I'm in some Facebook groups and some whatever with other people. And they're like, hey, whenever you get that done, like, let me know, because I'm pretty interested in that, So now he can sell that for whatever he wants to, and that's just extra money on top for him, right? And yeah, even something like that. Like if you have a problem that you face constantly, I almost guarantee you that at least a handful of other people experience the same
Yeah.
problem. And if you can build something that's valuable that they can also use and solve that problem for them, they'll pay you for it. You know?
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Amazing. Yeah, it's I think your answer just give volume to a particular quote I learned some days ago. And I was trying to make reference of that what our problem our opportunity in work clothes. So it was trying to make reference of the fact that yeah, sometimes problem might be quite very demanding, but you providing solution for it can be more like a deep breaker for a whole lot of stuff that in fact you didn't even get to foresee from the head start. And this actually speak volume because lately I've been thinking more like in respect of blue collar entrepreneurs who work with their hands that anyone who could actually more like sit down and especially those particular demanding stuff when it comes to executing jobs or trying to troubleshoot what is wrong with a particular system. If there could be something around it that got to solve this problem easily, effortlessly, they could actually more like a whole lot, they will have a whole lot of margin. And it's easier for them to be more like an authority in that particular field, uh, being that they have the skill and now they now have a better approach to actually more like do that particular thing. And your stories just speak volume to it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
That's interesting.
So if you could speak directly to a 20 years old uh, entrepreneurs who has skills in their hands but doubt whether they could turn it into sustainable business, what will you say to them? Uh, let's say I'm just starting out and I think I just learned a particular skill. Let's say I learned painting. I learned how to more like paint houses for my clients and everything, and still I'm still unsure will AI actually just take out my business in terms of painting. Usually I use the manual style of painting with my roller and brush. So more like your approach now as a no code, more like what do you think I could actually more like get to do in a way that I could actually build that into a business?
Very interesting. So, um, I think there's a couple of different models to this, right? Um, oh, hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. My dog came down to say hi. Um, I think, and again, I'm so glad I had that conversation this morning because I think the main focus is what problem are you solving for who, right? And you just because you have this great skill, like you mentioned, painting, you can do all this kind of stuff. I think one, you have to make sure that you're solving the problem that people will pay for, which I think that's already solved by that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The second piece is you have to find a way to position and differentiate yourself. Just like you said,
Mm-hmm.
there's a bunch of software developers, there's a bunch of painters, there's a bunch of HVAC people. There's more and more and more people all the time that are kind of getting into these fields. So how do you differentiate? Just like you said, I think that's one of the big things. Whether it's your process or it's your area or it's
Yeah.
your specialty. You do a lot of times people can differentiate on pricing. Maybe you're the least expensive or you're the
Yeah.
most expensive, but you're higher quality. How are you doing that kind of stuff? And then I think the other piece then is getting very clear, and this is something that's taken me a long time to figure out too, is what are the three stages of your business. Keep it simple instead of trying to do all of the
Yeah.
things. How are you getting clients, number one, in the front door? Number two, what are your standard operating procedures? What's the process that you're using to fulfill the project you're getting paid to do? It's when somebody signs up to get their house painted, what's step one? What's step two? What's step three? Make it as repeatable as
Yeah.
possible so you're not constantly doing different things and
Yeah.
going slower here, going whatever. And then three, right? How do you optimize those systems as much as possible? So then you can eventually hire and hand that
Yeah.
off to someone. So then you actually have a real business instead of just being your solopreneur, your freelancer kind of
Yeah.
thing. I think that in a nutshell, there's all kinds of different sub steps inside of each one of those, I think. But those three pieces, if you can just keep those three optimized and figure that out, you're gonna have a very good business. You're gonna make a lot of good money, and you'll figure things out a lot faster. I think that
Wow.
would probably be my approach.
Wow, amazing. Thank you for the blueprint. I think yeah, it just speaks volume to, because sometimes, yeah, I think with the blueprint it just solve the problem of hiring. Because most times, when it comes to a lot of trade persons, being that they started out as a solopreneur, they have the skills and they just start on their own, them doing each and everything. Sometimes it's easier for them to just keep doing it and never write a blueprint of how does this come in, what are the process to actually get the job done, and how does this ease of those things actually come into place towards execution and finishing the job. You just make reference of this, just show the fact that if you could actually more like just sit yourself and try to have more like a rundown memories of how those jobs that you have been doing over time, what the process entails, it's easier to just pass it down and have more like an employees, that's easier for them to just get to do the job without them depending on you. Because at the end of the day, business is not just built on solopreneur being in quote one person alone. Sometimes when it comes to trade business, there's not much you can do as a solopreneur. Yeah, thank you so
Yep.
thank you so much. So Dan, what is your next? What is next for you? Any project initiative you are excited about that our listeners can keep an eye on?
Ah, yeah, interesting. Well, unfortunately, as far as what my clients are doing, I can't really talk about a lot of those as far
Oh,
as
so
the
true.
next ones because we're getting ready to launch those and stuff. I will say there's a very big project we're getting ready to launch in Africa, that I think will change a lot of things. So
Wow.
um, keep an eye out for that. I wish I could give more details, but I can't really do that.
I
But
perfectly understand.
yeah, but no, I think there is another one that I've been personally working on that has been kind of fun, and it's in the. Have you ever heard of taxidermy?
That's don't know, man. No. No.
So it's basically if you're a hunter or a fisherman and harvest an animal and you kind of get it stuffed and mounted on the wall, kind of like those ones are.
Wow. Oh, yeah, yeah, I can see.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Um, there's a business and an app that I've built that kind of walks business. You can find taxidermists. You can run your taxidermy business on there. You can find
Wow.
out all these different things. It's a marketplace for taxidermy.
Oh, wow.
So it's called Trophy Makers. So that one is out there. You can go to trophymakers.com and you can check it out. But that's been a fun one because my dad does some taxidermy. My dad actually did those two. Those were my first
Wow.
two deer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But
really
yeah,
lovely.
yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of cool things. We're building so many cool new projects. We're kind of we're kind of getting into more of the lovable, the Replit, the AI coding tools. We're
Yeah.
kind of seeing how all of those go. So yeah, we're launching a lot of things really fast. And another thing I guess I'll say, not software related, is I'm working on my very first book. It's going to be very very useful in this space.
Yeah.
I don't want to announce it yet because I'm not done. I don't know
Yeah.
when this will all get released. I don't know if you'll be able to buy the book yet, but keep an eye out for that. If you do want to,
Yeah. No problem.
eventually get the book, we can come back on and I can give you the link and all that stuff for it too. But it should be coming out in a few months, I'm thinking. So
All right. All right. I will definitely reach out. All right. Thanks a whole lot. So Dan, how can my listener get to learn more about you, do business with you, or listen to you more? Where can they connect to you more?
yes, so as you mentioned at the beginning, my show is called Tech Bites. It's spelled Bytes, Tech Bites. And I do a couple of shows per week. I talk a lot about, I'll have interviews just like this, but we'll also do current events if you're very into the AI, technology, race, and all the different things that are going on. We talk about that a lot. And there's a lot of information that we have on that show. So yeah, I would check out the Tech Bites show.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to check it out because over the past few more like days, I've been thinking about there's a whole lot of AIs that's coming up every day. Just where you make reference of it, that every day AI is actually coming into being, and I think for every trade person listening to this, more like constantly more like checking out which AI could actually better what they do, or make it faster, make it better, and yeah, get them more gig, or more like put them out there as more professional. They'll put them more there as key person of influence in that particular field. I think kind of latching on it, being the early adopter of those particular AI is going to kind of speak volume to what they could do compared to those who will later hear about it when their job is already taken away. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
definitely go to kind of hate to it and get to kind of show up every time to actually more learn all I could. Yeah, thank you so much, Dan.
Hey,
Uh,
thank you for having me. This was awesome.
yeah, so more like, do you have a social media that could actually connect with you too? Or you don't?
Yes, yes. I am not an Instagram guy very much anymore. I don't really don't know why, but LinkedIn is where you can connect with me as well. Yeah, LinkedIn. I think I am on. Well, yeah, we I can just it's Dan Hefner, Dapper No Code. You can connect with me there.
All right, all right. Thank you very much. Uh, it's definitely all the link you actually make reference. So my audience are going to see it on the show notes, so that they could actually reach out and do business with you, and also follow your show so that at the end of the day, AI won't take their job. All
Yes,
right,
for
thank
sure.
you. So I will just go ahead and read out the outro before we end the course of the conversation. Or is there anything you actually want to add to what you want to tell my audience, especially ski entrepreneur that is keep that? Yeah, you actually just maybe a word of encouragement.
Um, all I would say in closing is that we're living in a brand new world here. It's middle of 2025 right now at the time of recording this. I think that opportunity is everywhere. I would say don't be super afraid of the AI revolution and all of the things that are coming. Don't fall for the hype that no one's going to have jobs in 10 years. I think that's a bunch of crap, to be honest. And I think the more you learn to think differently, to leverage what's out there, and to find gaps and fill them with even not with just software, but with AI, with anything, you'll be you'll be ahead of the curve. So that's my encouragement. Stay bright. The future looks bright. Stay positive, and I think everything will be good.
Wow, thank you very much, Dan. Thank you for that encouragement, and I think it's really profound. The fact that looking back on how your story gets started, being the fact that you figure it out as you go, it's just a reminder that, yeah, every one of us can actually figure it out once we have the middle mindset and think on what problem can we solve at this particular time owing to the demand that is currently available. Yeah, thank you, Dan. Dan, thank you so much for sharing your journey and wisdom with us today. I love how your story proved that you don't need to start with all the answers, just the willingness to take the first step. For everyone listening, remember that opportunity exists in every field, whether it's with your hands or with technology. And sometimes the two go hands in hands. To connect with Dan and explore his free no code guide, head over to deepernoCode.com/download. I will drop the link in the show note definitely. And to my audience, if today's conversation inspire you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Share this episode with your friends who is ready to start building their dreams. Until next time, keep working with your hands, your mind, and your heart. This is the Aro Benaiah Show. Yeah, thank you, Dan.
Thank you.